back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about Parkland 5 years later and the anti-gun left and how there's still a bunch of fucking douchebags who hate the Second Amendment. And that's why we're also supporting companies here in Ohio like Poland Meats who actually give a shit about the Second Amendment. Specifically, the hat I'm wearing is from that place, and it's the only shop that I know of in the state of Ohio that actually is encouraging concealed carry in their business. So, yeah, that's why I go there. That's why I shop there. They're a bunch of good folks. I'm pretty sure, like, every single person on their staff is armed at all times, is what it is. Even though they're a small town, it doesn't really matter, Crime can happen anywhere, is what it is. But, yeah, great place. Good prices. Nice atmosphere, etc., etc. So, we're going to talk about a bunch of different stories. We're going to talk about a few days ago, which is those assholes, Maxwell, Frost, and David Hogg. We're also going to talk about douchebag Biden trying to use Ryan Petty's daughter as a political pawn, basically, even though, he's been standing on the grave at that point. And then we're going to talk about some local related stuff with the Second Amendment Preservation Act that just got submitted yesterday here in Ohio. And the fucking piece of shit known as Christine Woodworth, who is basically the head of Moms Demand Action. She's the state-level version of Shannon Watts, and I'm pretty sure it was either her or it was one of her underlings that directly handed Allison Russo a bribe in May of 2021 during House Oversight Committee hearing on constitutional carry here in the state of Ohio, on camera during that oversight hearing. And there's video evidence of that, by the way, still out there on the Ohio channel and archives and stuff like that. If actually any state lawmakers in the state of Ohio right now want to do their fucking job and investigate Allison Russo and Christine Woodworth and everybody else in Moms Demand Action there, they would 100% go back and watch that fucking video and then start investigations from there, dude. I don't care if it's just an envelope being handed to some bitch, dude. You know damn well there's much money in that fucking envelope. And the fact that Allison Russo was running a campaign for a congressional seat federally at the time as a special election that Mike Kerry eventually took over and won is everything that shows exactly what the fucking cash was being used for, most likely, which was to be a bunch of backdoor fucking campaign cashes, I guess, honestly. So, but that's the problem with these anti-gunners, dude. They can do whatever the fuck they want and get away with it. It's a bunch of bullshit entirely, dude. And it's like, enough is enough, dude. It's time to start suing their asses out of fucking existence, really, is what it is. And if they're holding power right now, toss them out of fucking office and charge them criminally with deprivation of rights of law is what it is, dude. And other crimes they've committed already. Specifically, with our first story of the day, comes little fuckstick Maxwell Frost, Democrat rep. Florida's push to become 26th constitutional carry state is, quote, fascism, according to this dickless loser. But well, I'm not surprised, dude, when you got Frost being one of the biggest pieces of shit in all of our society. Should have been DQ'd from the running to begin with when you had him running on an anti-gun platform there. So, anyway, it says, Congressman Maxwell Frost says Republicans push to make the Sunshine State the 26th constitutional carry state is fascism. So Frost did not define fascism nor explain how constitutional carry is indicative of it, but on February 7, 2023, he did tell MSNBC's Joy Reid that Governor Ron DeSantis is, quote, abusing his power in pursuit of constitutional carry. Frost said, this permitless carry bill, this is any gun, anywhere, anytime, no permit. That's not common sense. This legislation will result in death, except for the fact that there's 25 constitutional carry states already, including the state of Ohio, you douchebag. And there hasn't been that rivers of blood in the streets, or whatever the fuck you fear-mongering pieces of shit want to say at this point, dude. It hasn't become the Wild West, even though that's what it should be at this point, honestly, because you would not be around anymore if it was. I'm just saying, man. Seriously, man. If it was the Wild West, dude, you would have so many of these fucking politicians getting basically forced into public duels and shit like that. It wouldn't be funny anymore. The same thing with the anti-gunners, for that matter, dude. I just realized, was I even coming in for the first 4 minutes of this fucking video? I don't think I was. And the reason I say that is because I'm pretty sure that God damn it. Fuck. Okay, so anyway, to reiterate the last 5 minutes of this video, because I'm pretty sure that my stupid headphone mic was what you call it instead of the toner mic I just plugged in here. Was actually the thing. So I'm going to go back and talk about things real quick here for 5 minutes now. In a real quick, little iteration, we're going to go back and reread that first article there. So basically, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hogg Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, all that good shit. Today's episode, talking about Parkland 5 years later, anti-gunners, 5 years later, still being a bunch of douchebags. We got articles we're going to talk about with Maxwell Frost, David Hogg, Biden versus Parkland father Ryan Petty, and local news about Ohio Second Preservation Act, etc. there. So, yeah, pretty much that's the gist of what we were talking about the last 5 minutes here. And I really wish that I had known that it was my mic was not the right mic, actually. I fucking knew I knew I should have checked it, dude. I didn't even think too, honestly. But, yeah, needless to say, so basically, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, the Poland hats meet that I'm wearing the Poland Meats hat I'm wearing right now is the only place in the state of Ohio I know for a fact that actually allows concealed carry and welcomes it in their stores. And yeah, they're a bunch of good people is what it is. So, and that's the problem when you have anti-gunners just being a bunch of anti-gun douchebags and stuff like that and trying to disarm people, especially, women and others for that matter, dude, whether it be poor people or minorities or whatever the case be. And, and then they want to sit there and act like, oh no, government's going to protect your asses. And it's like, oh yeah, you mean the same government that literally just nuked a fucking town in the state of Ohio? You mean that same government? You mean the same government that sat by for almost 2 weeks now and did jack shit? You mean the same government that literally when asked for federal aid hasn't done a goddamn thing because it was mega country and Trump won it in 2020? And Biden and Buttigieg don't give a fuck about it, dude? You mean that fucking government, you fucking douchebags? Yeah, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, Maxwell Frost, you fucking sack of shit. Motherfucking punk. So, anyway, as I was saying with this this bill, you got that dipshit talking about Florida's push to become 26th constitutional carry state is supposedly fascism. Then it said, dipshit Frost says Republicans push to make the Sunshine State 26th constitutional carry state is fascism. Frost did not define fascism nor explain how constitutional carry is indicative of it, but on February 7th, did tell dipshit Joy Reid that Ron DeSantis is abusing his power in pursuit of constitutional carry. Frost claimed that permitless carry bill, this is any gun, anywhere, anytime, no permit. That's not common sense. This legislation will result in death. And like I was saying, it won't result in anything because as these fucking retard dipshit Democrats always love to talk about, whether it be Moms Demand Action types or Students Demand or Giffords or March for Our Lives, jackasses, whatever it is, dude. They're always talking about like, oh, it's going to be blood in the streets or it's going to be Wild Wild West and stuff like that. It's like, no, it's not, you fucking clown. Because if it was, it would have already happened in 25 other states, including the state of Ohio right now, which has had it for almost a year now. Which, by the way, we're now just over 8 months now since Ohio's gotten constitutional carry. It was June 13th, 2022 when our constitutional carry went into law now. So I knew that for a fact because that was the first day that Ohio Education Network became a thing in the state of Ohio because I made it the thing that day. So yeah, come June 13th this year, in a little under 4 months now, we are going to be doing our first anniversary for OPEN, and hopefully it'll be our first lawsuit by then against these anti-gun fuckboys and stuff like that, dude. So, anywho, that's pretty much it for that article. Then we got next one up for bat here, which would be the little future fucking actual fascist dictator piece of shit, David Hogg, which is, this is from last week or so. It said, Hogg, target guns like anti-tobacco activists targeted cigarettes. There is a huge fucking difference between the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms and a vice like smokes, you dipshit. Number one. Number two, this is why you don't let fucking communist children have voting rights in this country or any other country for that matter, dude. Because they're going to go fucking full dipshit like this, dude. And honestly, I'm going to say it like it is, dude. The fact that you have mainstream media still giving that little fuckboy David Hogg, that little fuck-knuckle piece of shit, a platform to spew his bullshit 5 years later, they need to be fucking charged as accessories to this shit, dude. And they need to be sued to the fucking grounds accessories of this crap, dude. Because they're literally giving a literal fucking future dictator, fascist little fuckboy, an actual fucking white supremacist in David Hogg, the ability to spew a bunch of bullshit lies and hate and everything else like that to attack the Second Amendment, dude. And then straight up lie about what needs to be done with it, dude. As I said here, it said Parkland ass clown David Hogg believes that gun control lobby can succeed in restricting the Second Amendment if everyone will come together and target guns the same way anti-tobacco activists targeted cigarettes. Said Hogg was interviewed by CBS News on February 12th. CBS News to be sued for this, by the way. When they talked about how gun rights groups such as the NRA, which by the way doesn't exist really, it's fucking. I love how they always like, oh, the NRA this, the NRA this, the NRA that, dude. The NRA doesn't do jack shit, you fucking clowns. They never have. They've taken money. They're actually on your side at this point, you dumbasses. All they do is take money out of the Second Amendment fighting. The actual groups doing stuff are FPC, GOA, etc., dude, or state level groups like mine is what it is. So, anyway. He claimed the NRA have often appeared unbeatable, but he believes the gun control lobby can succeed in taking cues from the anti-tobacco movement. Dipshit Hogg said the tobacco industry is exactly the model that I think of in terms of decades of work that it will take to address this issue. You've already, like, that's the thing, right? Okay. So he's talking about taking decades of time and work into this shit, dude. You've already lost, motherfucker. Just admit you're a fucking piece of shit loser, David Hogg. Pack your fucking bags. And if you hate this constitutional republic so much, dude, you or Christine Woodworth or Shana Watts or Michael Bloomberg, any of you fuckers, dude, Gabby Giffords, etc., dude, pack your fucking bags and get the fuck out of my country and don't ever come back. And while you're at it, leave your U.S. citizenships at the fucking door, dude, because you're not having those anymore either. Go fuck yourself. Get the hell out. I am personally so sick and tired of these fucking douchebags, dude. If you hate this constitutional republic so much, dude, take your ass overseas to an actual democracy and find out real fucking quick how it becomes a socialist or communist nation like Venezuela, motherfuckers. When you have actual dictators in power. I bet you won't. I bet you never will. Because you're all a bunch of fucking cowards, dude. It's exactly why you pussy-ass bitches want to sit there and bitch about guns, yet walk around with 4 to 8 armed security personnel with you at all times. Because you're a bunch of hypocrite fucking cunts. That's what it really is, dude. And I'm sick and tired of your shit. And so is everybody else on the Pro 2A side of things. I just have the balls to say that's what it is. But yeah, we're all fucking sick of it, dude. Anyway. Continuing back, it said Dipshit Hogg compared big tobacco to the gun lobby, gun industry, saying, we've addressed why cigarettes were easy to access, especially for poor people and kids of color. So you're admitting you're a racist piece of shit, David Hogg? Yeah, go fuck yourself, cunt. And we stomped out the corruption, misinformation, and lies of big tobacco. And guess what? We're going to do the same with guns and gun industry. Except you're the fucking liars, you piece of shit. And you fucking know it, dude. You were the gaslighting sacks of shit out there, David Hogg. Go fuck yourself, cunt. I could 100% see this kid becoming a modern-day Hitler, dude. I'm not even going to lie about that one, dude. That dude is 100% modern-day Hitler, dude. David Hogg is. 100%. So, anyway, moving on to the sort of Pro 2A side of things here. We got this article here from the Gateway Pundit yesterday, which happened a couple days ago for the 50th anniversary of Parkland, which was Dad who lost child in shooting unleashes on Biden after seeing video. Don't use my daughter's death to advance your political agenda. Says when the White House decided to mark 50th anniversary of Parkland, Florida school shooting with a video of dipshit Biden making yet another demand for more gun control, it was aiming to capitalize on the pain of families for their own ends. But the father of one of the girls who died on February 14th, 2018, mass shooting in Marshallstone and Douglas High School, wasn't going to let the political optimism pass. And in a seething Twitter post responding to Biden's statement, Ryan Petty didn't hold back, saying, quote, don't use my daughter's death to advance your political agenda, Petty wrote, the words viscerally dripping with scorn, said, because of your politicized FBI, failed Obama-era school discipline policies, and a sheriff that cared more about his image in a community than enforcing the law, a maniac was allowed to attack a school. Try learning what really happened. Well, I mean, that's the thing too, right, though? I mean, if you look at, and I've talked about this before many times, dude, in the past 5 years, if you actually look at Parkland, there's no fucking way there wasn't 2 to 3 shooters in that school that day, dude. When you have a bunch of teenagers at the time specifically saying, hey, this guy, Nicholas Cruz, that they claim did this shit, I was standing right next to him in a fucking classroom while there's shots ringing out across this campus in multiple other directions is what it is, dude. So you cannot sit there and tell me that he was the lone gunman that day, dude. Especially when you had that entire school visited like 25 times by Secret Service and FBI agents and stuff like that over like the year or two before it, dude. And on top of all that, you had those two things, and then you also had the school resource officers at that school who they had their CCTV footage and stuff like that they had on the hallways and whatnot, where they would specifically, instead of putting it at like 1 p.m. or whatever, like it's supposed to be they would send it back an hour to like 12 o'clock or whatever. And so and this is the thing that came out after the fact, is they had claimed the day that happened in Parkland or whatever, that Marjory Stoneman Douglas was like the safest school in America at the time, even though it was actually one of the most violent schools in America at that time. You had at least 2 to 3 fights a day at that school, if not more. And every time one of these fights happened, because that hour, backlog or whatever it was there, you would have these school resource officers, these Broward County cops is what it was in most cases, go into the administrative office and stuff like that where the recordings were happening at, go to the time that was set an hour before that. So if it was like, the fight happened at 1 o'clock, whatever the case be, they go back to noon then, where they had it set to, and just erase off that footage is what it was, dude. And then when people try to look into it later and been like, oh, well, the fight supposedly occurred at 1 o'clock, and then there's nothing there in the fucking footage or whatever, dude. Yeah, they were covering shit up for years is what it was, dude. And not only that, but the fact that Parkland itself, Marjory Stoneman Douglas High was, the campus was larger than some colleges in this country, dude. A lot of colleges, actually, especially like community colleges and stuff like that. Yeah, that place was fucking huge, dude. It was like a giant campus, basically. It was the size of at least a small college, if not bigger than. So when you have like multiple buildings across multiple, acres of area and stuff like that, dude, you could easily have multiple shooters that day is what it is. And the fact that you've had, since then, the day it happened and the day after it happened and stuff like that, you had a bunch of the teenagers come out and been like, yeah, dude, I'm with this kid and there's shots ringing out different places or whatever the case be. And since then, that past 5 years now, a bunch of those people that came out and specifically stated like there were multiple shooters have all winded up dead in serious circumstances and stuff like that, dude. It's like, yeah, you cannot sit here and tell me honestly that when you have like people just dropping dead under serious circumstances and stuff like that, dude, that there isn't some shady fucking cover-ups going on there is what it is, dude, for real. So, needless to say, I truly believe, and I'll believe to beyond this day at this point, honestly, that there was more than one shooter that day, dude, in Parkland. There's no way that there's not. Like, Cruz is a scapegoat is what it is, dude. He might have been part of it somehow, but there's no way he did it alone is what it is, dude. And I'll say it like that, honestly. And it's that simple. So, anywho. Continuing on here. Yeah, he had Petty's statement there. And it said, it's become almost a tradition for dipshit Biden to use Parkland killings to push his agenda and for Petty to hit back. But if Democrats want to keep going to this well, they're going to keep choking on the facts. The failings that surround the Parkland shooting that killed 14 students and 3 staffers are numerous and well documented, not to mention that, but you also have, Uvalde, where they waited like an hour and a half to go in the fucking school, or an hour 15 minutes, something like that is what it was. But yeah, as I said here, it said Nicholas Cruz could have and should have been enrolled in an alternative high school for special needs kids long before the shooting, but he wasn't. Broward County School District's policy on school discipline, stemming from recommendations from Obama's White House, put an emphasis on involving law enforcement for criminal behavior to avoid school-to-prison pipeline. It was an approach Scott Israel, the sheriff of Broward County at the time of the Parkland shooting, he's also Hillary Clinton fuckboy, by the way, had actually bragged about during his re-election campaign in 2016, and it was the approach that helped Cruz supposedly stay in the school despite behavioral problems, according to South Florida Sun Sentinel. The Broward School District initially denied that. Said even warnings that had gone to the FBI and could have been potentially averted the school shooting were ignored by the Bureau, just like always do, because they want these things to happen. So Justice Department didn't admit fault, as the New York Post reported. Last year, it just agreed to pay $127.5 million to family of the victims. Yeah, oh yeah, they're at fault. That is 100% what it is. That's the big fault right there, paying a bunch of money. So, response from Broward County Sheriff's Office on the day of the shooting was a disaster marked by cowardice displayed by the deputy assigned to the campus, refusing to go in, and displays of more deputies and confronting killers. But yeah, it keeps going on from that. Realize what it is, and like I said, it's a bunch of shit all the way around, dude. And you got this Rebecca woman saying sorry, talking about Petty. Said sorry using your daughter that way to insist on quote assaultment's ban yet again. Smart guy said, thank you for standing up for what is right. I am terribly sorry for your loss. Talking about Ryan Petty there. And that third person to Petty saying, wish those vulnerable children were actually protected. Deputy that was on scene that was somehow special enough to be able to carry while other adults weren't was unfortunately a coward. Oh, he's a complete fucking piece of shit, dude, is what it is. And then, yeah, it's all a Democrat-run shitholes is what it is, dude, that most of these places happen in. Yep, gun-free zones, Democrat-run cities, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then for, like I said, we're going to talk about the Second Preservation Act stuff here in a minute. Before we get on that one, I do want to mention, this is, we're going to go to state-level stuff right now, which is that stupid cunt, Christine Woodworth, who is, like I said, the Ohio version of Moms Demand Action. I'm pretty sure she actually was really from Connecticut or something like that. She needs to take her ass back there is what it is, dude, for real. This is what this dumb cunt was talking about, the Second Preservation Act thing. Said, and here we go, Ohio. You thought stand your ground, permitless carry, and arming untrained teachers was bad as it gets. Have you met the Ohio GOP? And then the Ohio Legislative Watch, is a leftist group, is what it is. Said another fanatical gun law introduced by State Rep Mike Loychek today prohibits Ohio from enforcing federal gun laws, fines cities $50,000 if a police officer enforces a federal gun law, and anyone can sue if a cop gave material support to anyone enforcing federal gun laws. And my response to Woodworth was, how about you stop attacking Ohioans' Second Amendment rights and get the hell out of this state and take the rest of your commie red shirts with you? We are all sick and tired of your Bloomberg page shill bullshit, Woodworth. And it's true, we really are, honestly, dude. She's a fucking piece of crap is what it is, dude. And specifically, the piece of legislation they're talking about here, going to legiscan.com, which was introduced here in the last day or so. You got everything from the House bills up to, I think it's like 50 or 60 now being introduced now. Or no, it's over 50. It's like 60-ish or so. But when we go down here on the list a little bit, it is, let's see if I can find it here now. No, it was here earlier. Maybe it was up higher. There we go. House Bill 51, enact the Second Amendment Preservation Act, which ironically enough was not just Mike Loychek, it was Gene Schmidt of everybody, dude. I'm surprised by that one, honestly. I'm surprised that she would have been the co-primary of this one. Just because Schmidt's trying to get with the state death penalty is what it is, dude, and has been for a couple of years now. So, but yeah, anyway, it said this would amend section 9.68 of the revised code to require, never mind, sorry, that's a different one. That was the state Senate version of it. Or not that was a state Senate version of a different bill that would basically tell California to go fuck itself. Or wait. No, sorry. Misclicked. That was actually, okay, so there's two bills I want to talk about right now. Second one's the Second Preservation Act. This first one that I'm going to talk about right the second, actually, is the Senate version of another bill that was introduced. It's basically a direct fuck you to California when it comes to fines and fees and stuff like that. So, Senate Bill 58, which is Terry Johnson and Teresa Gavarone. And for those who don't know who Terry Johnson is, he's a guy that basically helped get constitutional carry passed here in the state of Ohio. It was his Senate version constitutional carry last year that was the one that actually passed through the General Assembly and went to DeWine's desk and became law as SB 215 at the time. So this is basically what this would do. It would amend Section 9.60 of the revised code to prohibit requiring fees or firearms liability insurance for the possession of firearms or fees for the possession of knives. So, yeah, pretty good legislation, I think, on that one. So hopefully that'll get through. Hopefully the Senate Bill 58 will get through on that one. But the other one we're going to talk about here, which is House Bill 51, which actually is a Second Amendment Preservation Act or Second Amendment Sanctuary Bill, which is, again, you look back at my time in this whole thing and, you know, my whole situation and stuff like that. You have, when it comes to my fight in the Second Amendment here, it all started back in 2019 with the Dayton Massacre and basically being a reactionary and actually trying to get shit passed is what it was here, and working on a grassroots version of at that time in this country and the state, which was state and county level versions of Second Amendment sanctuary stuff. So I was working on it a long time before Chris Dorr and them were. The big difference was that Dorr realized he could make money off of it is what it was, dude. So anyway, but yeah, this is the House bill here, which is to amend sections 2123.11, 2123.101, 2923.122, and 2923.17, and to enact section 2923.50 of the revised code to enact the Second Amendment Preservation Act to add additional protections to the right to keep and bear arms, to remove federal firearms law references from the state firearms control law, and to declare an emergency. So here's the big thing about that, right? And this is something I talked about here on the channel a couple days to like a week and a half ago or so is what it was, which was the removing federal firearms law references to state firearms control act. There is currently in the Ohio Constitution codified shit from federal laws, what it is, specifically like the NFA and crap like that's what it is, dude. Which again, we have no clue who the fuck actually put it in there, how many decades it's been pushed through in that crap or anything like that. But this specifically, HB 51, if it gets able to get past there, would finally do away with that bullshit. And hopefully it will, honestly. And that's the thing, dude. Of course, all these anti-gunners are all pissed about it because they know they're fucking lost already, dude. And again, if they hate the state so much, you get the fuck out of it is what it is, seriously. We're a red state. You know we're a red state. Take your fucking shit and go to some goddamn blue shitholes, what it is, dude. Oh, no, that's right. You won't, because you want actual protections from guns in this state is what it is. Because, you know, your little blue fucking paradises are all Democrat-run shitholes where you can't actually arm yourselves, you dumb cunts. And MDA, etc. So, anyway. But, yeah, this is the actual bill text here, which is 27 pages. Which I'm guessing a lot of it's just like various other stuff about the things, and that's like a couple of things like new stuff is what it would be. Yeah, like right there, you would take. Okay, here. Okay, so you go right here. This is one of the things it would deal with. Would be taking out the 68 Gun Control Act crap from our state constitution, as well as National Firearms crap. All right, it's just National Firearms Act crap is what it is, and then some more stuff about like destructive devices and stuff like that. Gun Control 68. Again, more BS about National Firearms Act 34. And then there we go. Section 7, any firearm with an affixed brace, stabilizing device, arm brace, or pistol brace. So basically it's actually, you know, saying, no, that stuff's all cool and good to go. Let's see, more stuff about preemptive law and stuff like that from back in the day. And then this looks like it's just more or less sort of, I believe a lot of this stuff is copy and paste actually from what Missouri's is already when it comes to the actual preservation part is what it is. So I'm just going to keep going down the line because we're only like 16 pages in right now. Again, more references to the GCA of 68. Some more references of other crap there that shouldn't be in our Constitution. More references to the 68 Gun Control Act. Okay, here you go. This is the new section, which is 2923.50. Law-abiding citizen means a person who is not otherwise precluded under state law from possessing a firearm and shall not be construed to include anyone who is not legally present in the United States of America or the state. Said law enforcement officer has the same meaning as in other sections of the thing. Material aid or support includes voluntary giving or allowing others to make use of lodging, communications equipment, Political subdivision means various places in the state, public office, all that shit like that. Yeah, okay. All stuff we already know about. Public officer, Section B, General Assembly of the State of Ohio finds and declares that 1. The General Assembly of the State of Ohio is firmly resolved to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against any aggression, whether foreign or domestic, and is duly bound to oppose every infraction of those principles that constitute the basis of the Union of the States, because only a faithful observance of those principles can secure the Union's existence and the public happiness. 2. Acting through the Constitution of the United States, the people of the several states created the federal government to be their agent in an exercise of a few defined powers, while reserving for the state governments the powers to legislate on matters concerning the lives, liberties, and properties of citizens in the ordinary course of affairs, which is all true, by the way. That's where the 10th Amendment comes in, the Constitution for state rights, stuff like that as well. 3. Limitation of federal government's powers is affirmed under the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, which defines the total scope of federal powers as being those which have been delegated by the people of the several states to the federal government, and all powers not delegated to the federal government in the Constitution of the United States are reserved to the states respectively or to the people themselves. All true, and that's something it reads, by the way. Number 4, if the federal government assumes power that the people did not grant it in the Constitution of the United States, its acts are unauthoritative, void, and of no force, which, by the way, that section 4 part there actually goes to something I was talking about a minute ago when it comes to specifically deprivation of law is what it is, dude. And it's all stuff like that, really, is what it is. It also goes back to Marbury versus Madison 1803 too, as well, with the whole, any piece of legislation written that is unconstitutional or deemed unconstitutional should be looked at as never written to begin with, and stuff like that, and just null and void on the spot is what it is. So, yeah, very much goes back to like old precedent from like several hundred years ago is what it is in this country. So anyway, continuing on here. Section 5, the several states of the United States respect the proper role of federal government, but reject the proposition that such respect requires unlimited submission. Of course, exactly. So the federal government created by a compact among the states were the exclusive or final judge of the extent of the powers granted to it by the states through the Constitution of the United States. Federal government's desertion and not the Constitution of the United States would necessarily become the measure of those powers. To the contrary, as in all other cases of the compacts among powers having no common judge, each party has an equal right to judge for itself as to whether infractions of the compact have occurred, as well as to determine the mode and measure of redress. Although the several states have granted supremacy to laws and treaties made under the powers granted in the Constitution of the United States, such supremacy does not extend to various federal statutes, which, by the way, what people are talking about and what the Ohio Legislative Watch people, they're all a bunch of leftist-controlled idiots there, we're talking about was the supremacy clause and stuff like that, which this is what this is addressing, by the way, in this particular section of this. And it's saying, no, that supremacy clause isn't like final say, basically, is what it is, dude. Like, and that's the thing, too. When you look at stuff like, whether it be the Heather ruling or even more recently, the Bruin ruling, it proves that the supremacy clause is bullshit, dude, in most cases. And when you actually look at the supremacy clause itself there, which we're going to do here in a second, actually, as soon as I grab that up here, because I was rereading it a little bit ago here, And when you actually look at the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution there, which is, go ahead and pull this up right now. Article 6, paragraph 2 of the U.S. Constitution is commonly referred to the Supremacy Clause. It establishes that federal constitution and federal law generally, but not always, just generally, takes precedence over state laws and even state constitutions. It prohibits states from interfering with the federal government's exercise of its, quote, constitutional powers, which, by the way, all fall back to the Second Amendment, stuff like that too as well, dude. And from assuming any functions that are exclusively entrusted to the federal government, which, by the way, the federal government can't, enforce actual laws that, infringe on the Second Amendment is what it is there. It does not, however, allow the federal government to review or veto state laws before they take effect. So that's the thing. And that's why I called out the people at the Ohio Legislative Watch earlier today, actually, when let me see if I can find it here real quick. Yeah, labeled this as no leg because they have no leg to stand on. This is what these fucking cocksuckers are talking about here, which is talking about House Bill 51 said the bill includes long rambling sections about states' rights while failing to acknowledge the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution, which it did, by the way. We're just talking about that right now on that other part there, which is section 7, I believe, here that we're on. No, I'm sorry, section 5 is what it was of this, which is on page 50 or 21. Yeah, I looked at 51 and I was looking at the House Bill thing there. Yeah, it's the beginning of page 21 is where it talks about that on section 5. So, yeah, it actually does talk about Supremacy Clause there. And this idiot at Ohio Legislative Watch continued on and said, federal law trumps state law. It's embarrassing that Rep. Wojcik doesn't grasp this. And my response was, and constitutional powers of said Supremacy Clause include protection of the Second Amendment, right to keep and bear arms, you jackasses. Stop acting like you have any leg to stand on, because you don't and never will. And that's the truth of the matter, honestly, dude. These fuckers have no leg to stand on. They know for a fact they have no leg to stand on. These anti-gun fuckboys, etc., have lost at this point. Do they know they've lost? And so what are they trying to do? They're trying to put bullshit-ass fucking unconstitutional alphabet agencies in place to where they can fuck us all over is what it is, dude. And it's a bunch of bullshit entirely. And I'm sick and tired of it, man. And every other American is too, for that matter. It's why you're seeing people basically tell the ATF to go fuck itself when it comes to pistol brace rolling, dude, because it's all unconstitutional. They have no legal authority to do anything there in the next couple months here. And yeah, you're going to have mass non-compliance on the whole thing, dude. It's as simple as that, really. So, anyway, that's exactly what we're trying to do. Yes, it's exactly what we're trying to do. This Two-Way Preservation Act right now is what it is. So, anyway, going back and finishing reading that, though, which is, let's see here now, where are we at now? Okay, so we were right about, give or take here, with reserve redress. So, although several states have granted supremacy to laws and treaty, okay, yeah, we got rid of that part as well of what it was, federal statutes. Okay, so it does not extend to various federal statutes, executive orders, administrative rules, court orders, rules, regulations, or other actions that collect data or restrict or prohibit the manufacture, ownership, and use of firearms, firearms accessories, or ammunition exclusively within the boundaries of Ohio, which is true, by the way. And this is also why Texas, they have a case there where they can actually have suppressors at the state level is what it is, and make and manufacture them in state and have them in state. So, and it doesn't actually break the NFA, technically speaking. But anyway. Sorry, got something weird in my ear right now. I'm trying to deal with. But yeah, anywho, as it says in the rest of this, though, said such, talking about boundaries of Ohio, it says such statutes, executive orders, administrative orders, court orders, rules, regulations, and other actions exceed the powers granted to the federal government, except to the extent that they are necessary and proper for governing and regulating the United States Armed Forces, or for organizing, arming, and disciplining militia forces actively employed in the service of the United States Armed Forces. So that's all Section 5. Section 6. The people of the several states have given Congress the power, quote, to relegate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states, but regulating commerce does not include the power to limit citizens' rights to keep and bear arms in defense of their families, neighbors, persons, or property, nor to dictate what sort of arms or accessories law-abiding Ohioans may buy, sell, exchange, or otherwise possess within the borders of the state. Section 7. The people of the several states have also granted Congress the power to, quote, to lay and collect taxes, duties, imports, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense of the general welfare of the United States, and, quote, to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the powers vested by the Constitution of the United States in the government of the United States, or in any department of government or any department of office thereof. These constitutional provisions merely identify the means by which the federal government may exercise its limited powers and shall not be construed to grant unlimited power, because to do so would be to destroy the carefully constructed equilibrium between the federal and state governments. Continually, the General Assembly rejects any claims that the taxing and spending powers of Congress may be used to diminish in any way the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Section 8. General Assembly of the State of Ohio finds that the federal excise tax rate on arms and ammunition in effect before January 1st, 2021, which funds programs under the Wildlife Restoration Act, does not have a chilling effect on the purchase or ownership of such arms and ammunition. I think that's due to stuff like, various ammunition like 50 cal and stuff like that's what it is or whatever. Section 9. The people of Ohio have vested the General Assembly with the authority to regulate the manufacture, possession, exchange, and use of firearms within the boundaries of the state, subject only to the limit imposed by the Second Amendment to the Constitution, to the United States Constitution and the Constitution of Ohio. Section 10. General Assembly of the State of Ohio strongly promotes responsible gun ownership, including parental supervision of minors in the proper use, storage, and ownership of all firearms, the prompt reporting of stolen firearms, and the proper enforcement of all state gun laws. The General Assembly of the State of Ohio hereby condemns any unlawful transfer of firearms and the use of any firearm in a criminal or unlawful activity. Section C. The following federal acts, laws, executive orders, administrative orders, rules, and regulations shall not be considered infringements on the people's right to keep and bear arms as granted by the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution and Article 4, Section 1 of the Ohio Constitution within the borders of the state, including, but not limited to, 1. Any tax, levy, fee, or stamp imposed on firearms, firearms accessories, or ammunition not common to any other goods and services that might responsibly be expected to create a chilling effect on the purchase and ownership of these items by law-abiding citizens. Section 2. Any restriction or tracking of firearms, any registration or tracking of firearms, firearms accessories, or ammunition. 3. Any registration or tracking of owners of firearms, firearms accessories, or ammunition. 4. Any act forbidding the possession, ownership, or use or transfer of a firearm, firearm accessory, or ammunition by law-abiding citizens. 5. Any act ordering the confiscation of firearms, firearms, accessories, or ammunition by law-abiding citizens. Section D. All federal acts, laws, executive orders, administrative orders, all that same shit before. And then it goes on to talk about some other stuff here. But yeah, basically it's telling federal government to go fuck itself, is what it is, dude. So, needless to say, basically 21 to 27 is all the new stuff that's in this then. So essentially it's like more or less 6 pages is what the actual legislation is when it comes to actually putting stuff into our state constitution to make an actual, hey, federal government, you cannot enforce fucking federal gun laws in states, especially when it's all unconstitutional bullshit like AWBs or fucking pistol brace grabs or whatever the case be is, dude. Doesn't really matter. It's like, no, if you're going to come in here as an FBI agent, ATF agent, et cetera, you can legally be arrested by our fucking sheriffs, by our state cops, etc., like that, dude. And they will not help you enforce. And if they do, guess what, motherfuckers? they're going to be catching charges and they're going to be catching fines, etc. Is what it is there. So, anywho, I think it's good legislation. I'm very happy about it. Like I said, I have no problem working with Chris Dorr and those guys at Ohio Governors is what it is, dude. Ohio Patriot Education Network has stood with them before. We'll stand with them again. And it's time for 2A groups to start backing each other in this state and this country, honestly. And it's time for us to start getting shit done, dude. Ohio needs a Second Amendment Preservation Act for sure. We definitely need to get the majority of what's in this passed through anyway, just because our state constitution is currently retarded. And it's like, who the fuck thinks it's a good idea, or whoever thought it was a fucking good idea to ever codify federal law into state law? That's just fucking dumb, dude. Entirely. That's the dumbest possible thing they could have done ever. And yeah, it's way past time, decades past time for that crap to go the fuck away is what it is. And that's pretty much what it is at the end of the day, dude. That's where we're standing at right now. And yeah, that's where we're at for the time being. A little bit of an update before we leave today. I know I said in the last episode, but not feeling great. I'm still not. My joints, every one of my joints right now hurts like a bitch, dude. And it is, I don't know if it's the fucking chemical spill, if it's weather changes because of that, if it's other stuff going on, if it's a mix thereof, but it just, oh my God, dude, I'm just in such pain right now. It's not even funny. Mom's having joint issues right now too, and that's not good either for that matter, because she's never had issues like that before, dude. So the only thing I could think is it has to be just like winds and stuff, because it's been like the last 2.5 days or so here in this area, it's just been crazy high wind gusts, like 35, 45 miles an hour for pretty much ever. I just went into our bathroom a few minutes ago, actually, before I started this episode, and there's a little thing that they installed there that's like a flapper thingy or whatever outside, and that was just banging around like crazy, so it's still going windy outside like crazy right now. And I'm seriously wondering if it's not like the air quality is just getting real bad, is what it is, dude, from East Palestine. Because the thing is, when you can toss a fucking rock into a river basin and shit like that, dude, and it just creates these like crazy chemical fucking plume ups and stuff like that. You can't tell me that shit's not still in the air at this point, dude. Days to weeks later is what it is, dude. So, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I said, I really fucking hope I don't get cancer again, dude. Like, just my luck, it wouldn't just be like one cancer either. It'd probably be like 3 or 4 cancers, honestly. Now, granted, if that being said, if it was something like, that Static Shock series back in the day, the cartoon show, where it was like, okay, I'm going to be, exposed to this chemical or whatever the case be, and I just get like these like trace amounts or whatever, and I end up being like that gear guy or whatever then, when it's all said and done, where I just get like a super genius kind of intellect or whatever, that'd be pretty cool. But, or it's something like, just various powers or whatever, but yeah, God forbid I become like fucking Swamp Thing or something like that, dude. Fuck that. Or the Hulk, for God's sakes. Like, you're not gonna like me when I'm angry. And I just become a big ass green dude with a big ass green dick. So, although that might be interesting. That might be interesting, dude. That Hulk rage becomes violent rage is what it is, dude. So anyway, I don't know, man. Obviously, I'm making jokes, but I'm actually serious when it's all said and done, man. Like, it's not fun. It's not fun, dude. And God forbid, the meats in the fucking state are any good anymore. God forbid the fucking cattle and shit are gonna be not all contaminated and everything else like that. So I really don't know right now. I'm very scared. I'm gonna say it like that, dude. The unknown is very scary, and the fact that we have the shit already hitting our water basins to go to other states, it's like, man, people are making jokes is like, okay, is this going to be like an X-Men level like mutant event kind of thing or whatever? Is this going to be just like some crazy thing where Ohio and a few other states become uninhabitable and unlivable is what it is, dude? And it's like, yeah, I don't want that to be a thing, man, is what it is. So I believe this is going to be a 3 Mile Island kind of event, personally, at least like that, dude. Maybe even larger than that. And do I think it's going to be full blown Chernobyl at this point? No, I don't. I think it's going to be more like 3 Mile Island, and that was bad enough, honestly. The big thing there is, how do they clean stuff up from here is what it is, man. So, and I personally believe it's going to take a long time to get it done. I don't even know how they would do anything from the water supply at this point, dude. Like, you'd almost have to, like, filter the like you would basically have to take like some gigantic filter through like every water supply in this fucking country right now, dude, to filter that shit out and make sure that that water is drinkable again ever again, or bathable, or anything for that matter, dude. You know, kids want to go play in it or whatever during the summertime when it's all hot and shit. I don't know if that's possible even, dude. Because really, honestly, if we're talking about, you know, like Vance showed in that video, dude, when you can like literally take a stick and just like, you know, knock up some soil like 3-4 feet down to the fucking water and shit, and it just creates that crazy fucking chemical bloom. You'd pretty much have to drain every single creek, river, etc. around this state right now, and then go in there and like fucking yank out the soils is what it is, dude. Like at least like several inches to a foot down or more, actually. And then reintroduce water into those systems then. That's like fresh new waters would be then. And who the hell knows how that's going to be dealt with, you know? Because the thing is, it's raining right now, for God's sakes, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it would be dealt with, dude, honestly. You know, I'm scared right now if I would walk outside if I'm not going to be putting my hand outside and getting my fucking fingers burned from acid rain and shit right now, dude. It scares me to think about hearing this rain outside right now, if it's fucking acid rain or not right now, honestly. So, I have every reason to be worried right now about my state, dude. And it just saddens me more and more every day that nobody see. Like, no, this is the big thing, right? Like, it would be one thing if you actually allowed declarations to be declared and had federal response and stuff to this shit, dude. But when you physically have people straight up saying, oh no, you're basically just fucked, you're on your own kind of thing, whatever, dude. It's a bunch of bullshit entirely, man. It really fucking is. So, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now with, let me see if I can pull it up here right now. There was an article on the Gateway Pundit earlier today that was talking about it. And it was, let's see if I can find it real quick here. Yeah, we'll talk about this before we go then. Which is, the cruelty is the point. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine reveals Biden regime is outright refusing assistance to East Palestine. Says residents of East Palestine, Ohio have been demanding answers as to why the federal government has failed to help clean up the toxic chemicals poisoning their city, resulting from the train derailment over 2 weeks ago now. Said Governor Mike DeWine revealed yesterday morning that Biden's regime is actively refusing to help East Palestine. FEMA is claiming Ohio is not eligible for assistance at this time. Of course, this is nonsense. The real reason almost certainly lies from the fact that residents of East Palestine, as well as the state of Ohio for that matter, voted overwhelmingly for President Donald Trump in 2020. And this was DeWine's thing I talked about yesterday, which said, spoke with White House earlier this morning, addressing the need to help federal government to help East Palestine. As a result of conversation, have requested assistance from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and Health and Emergency Response Team and CDC to provide direct support. And then the other one that said, been in direct contact with FEMA to discuss Ohio need federal support. FEMA continues to advise that Ohio is not eligible for assistance at this time. We'll continue to work with FEMA to determine what assistance they can provide. So Gateway Pundit, unlike corporate media, has exclusively reported on arguably the worst environmental disaster in American history. Recall TGP's Brian Lupo reported that Norfolk Southern train derailed in the town on February 3rd, affecting some 50 rail cars, 20 of which were carrying dangerous chemicals known as vinyl chloride and other chemicals. Initially, derailment led to more than 1,500 Ohioans being evacuated from nearby areas. Chemical burning made it too dangerous for firefighters and first responders to put out the fire. Monday, the 6th, Norfolk Southern crews released the toxic chemicals into the air from at least 5 of the derailed cars, citing a risk of exploding. This resulted in a watershed that several million Americans get several million pounds of toxic chemicals being released in the environment. This results in the deaths of thousands of animals. You know, literally fucking at least 3,500 fish we know about are dead right now, not to mention chickens and everything else like that now. Its main chemical release was vinyl chloride, which is known to cause several kinds of cancer. Many East Palestine residents will die from cancer resulting from this poison over the next decade, ? Most likely they will. Yet, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttplug has refused to do his job. Instead, he is more concerned about how many white people are working in construction. He is also unexpectedly blaming Trump for the train derailment. Yeah. Yet, you're fucking in office for 2 years, you fucking ass clown little piece of shit motherfucker. Trump has not been in office for 2 years, you dickless piece of shit, Pete. It's your fucking retarded ass that's in there now, dipshit. But no, let's go take fucking trips with your gay husband and your adopted fucking children for 6 months at a time instead of doing your fucking job. Seriously, how many dicks did Pete Buttigieg have to suck at this point, dude, just to get in this fucking position of power? That should be an elected office, by the way. And I've said that many times now. Whether it be Transportation Secretary, Education Secretary, Secretary of State, whatever the case be. It's a bunch of bullshit, dude. So, anyway. Yeah, it said Buttigieg has a new excuse for the horrible handling of the train disaster in Ohio. It's all Trump's fault. Said Pete is trying to suggest that the policies put in place in 2018 under President Trump prevented the implementation of policies that would have stopped the disaster from happening, yet Biden and company have been in power for over 2 years now and have done nothing. Said is Trump also preventing him from doing anything about it because it sure doesn't look like he is doing very much. As Fox News reports, said Buttigieg blames Trump for train derailment and criticism. Said Pete shifted part of the blame for the recent derailment of the carrying of toxic chemicals in Ohio on the Trump administration, reversing the little-known safety rule. Said dipshit Pete noted Tuesday evening that his agency had taken a series of steps to improve rail safety throughout historic investments, which is a fucking lie. They would have done that already at this point, dude. If they really give a shit, they would have done it without even needing the money, honestly. They would have just been like, nope, here's the deal. Got to put in these braking systems. This is what we're going to put the money towards right now. Get it done, etc. Without an omnibus bill and shit, like to get it done through is what it is, dude. But yeah, I was talking about the braking system there and stuff like that. It says in the wake of East Palestine derailment and impact of hundreds of residents, we're seeing lots of newfound and renewed and welcome interest in how we work on rail safety. So I wanted to share more about what we were doing in this area, tweeted dipshit Pete. Such a fucking liar, dude. Just a lame ass excuse, dude. And then as Marjorie Taylor Greene pointed out, dipshit Pete 2023. Yeah, stop blaming Trump, dude. Seriously. And this Jeff guy said, Pete blaming Trump for the Ohio disaster. Pathetic. Mayor Pete took 10 days to address the crisis. He lied about it and sought to cover up the massive damage caused by the controlled release and burn of deadly chemicals that poisoned local residents and the entire state of Ohio for that matter. And then said Pete should resign. Yes, he should. He should also be charged criminally at this point as well. Dan Eberhardt guy said this is the state of the Biden administration. Blame Trump for something that hasn't happened exclusively under your watch. Dipshit Pete is a complete embarrassment and would have been fired months ago if he performed this poorly in the private sector. Oh, he wouldn't even have the job, dude. Let's be honest with ourselves, dude, on that one, seriously. This motherfucker would have never been hired in the private sector because he's not qualified for the fucking job he's holding right now, dude, is what it is. Literally, the only reason he got hired in the first place, dude, is the exact same reason that the black head of the EPA got hired. They're fucking diversity assholes is what it is, dude. That have no fucking experience, have no actual physical ability to do the job that they're in position to do right now, and don't need to be in these fucking jobs at all. I'm so sick of the affirmative action BS is what it is, dude. And that's exactly what's fucking happening right here. See what some people in the comment section are saying here. So don't blame Trump because you were too busy trying to get your kid. Yeah, I'm not going to finish reading that one. It's just basically talking about stuff there. Let's see here. See if anybody else has anything worth talking about. Yes, guys. And meanwhile, invaders are put up at free hotels and given free meals that throw away the food and trash the rooms. Yeah, exactly. Fucking open borders and everything else like that. Just sick and tired of it, dude. And I think everybody else is too, for that matter. See what this person says. So those sectors, from what I understand about them, only tell the driver. Sensors. Okay. Yeah, sensors only tell the driver if he has track in front of the train. Just a copper wire between two rails for continuality. If it was a brake failure, it was from a lack of air. If it was an air loss from all the cars behind the air loss should have set their brakes. That didn't happen here. Only section cars had a brake failure. It wasn't due to the air loss. It was due to a lack of maintenance, or sabotage. Yeah, and like I said, dude, and the real problem is, right, we're spending a fucking $1 billion on this dumbass fucking war in Ukraine right now, dude. And yet you have places in the state of Ohio and other places around this country right now. And I'm going to go ahead and show this little video here. This is one of the train tracks in the state of Ohio right now, dude. This bumpy ass motherfucking track right here is in my state, where you have to go so fucking slow or you're going to derail because it's so fucking windy like a snake, basically. But yet we're spending $100 billion to fund a dumbass war between Russia and Ukraine. It's such a fucking joke, dude. It really is. That's why, honestly, I say fuck. I honestly do say it, man. Fuck both Ukraine and Russia at this point. When we need to be doing infrastructure on this country and this state because it's so fucked up right there, man. It's fucking ridiculous. It aggravates the hell out of me, is what it is, man. So, yeah, I think I'm pretty much done for the night. I got shit I gotta do. I'm just fucking. Like I said, I'm tired. I'm over it. My body's aching like a bitch the last couple of days. I don't know if my health's declining or not, but I'm just fucking done. And it's as simple as that. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see y'all on the next one.